guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Happy Monday. Let me turn. What is up? I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. We're back. Everybody, I know everybody's waiting. You guys want to see what's up. Parents of Stephan Sterns, Deb and Chris answer your questions about Maddie and Jenn Soto. All right. So remember, do me a favor. Of course, it's about, if anybody tells you it's all about likes, hitting the like button and views, of course it is. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. And the reason it is about likes is to get in the algorithm so everybody can see this and we can hope to get justice, full justice for Madeline Soto. That's why we're here today. Hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. We want to continue doing that. So let me adjust this a little bit. What I want to say to you today. Okay. So what's up, everybody? Hello. All right. So I have Deb Sterns right here with me on my phone. All right. Chris and Deb are listening. They were listening last time. So I'm going to tell you how we got here. And then we're going to get into the questions. But first, I'm going to tell you how we got here. All right. So everybody, let everyone come on in. Again, we're all about justice for Maddie. All right. Justice for Maddie. We want to make sure that the police don't forget, law enforcement don't forget that they need to arrest Jenn Soto. We know Stephan Sterns is in jail where he belongs. There's no dispute about that. Deb and Chris did not say no to any of the questions that you guys asked. Nothing was off limits. The only thing that was off limits, and she still answered, was about her older son. And her older son, she wants to keep out of this conversation. She does have an older son, and he wants nothing to do with Stephan Sterns. So that's the only thing that was off limits. Again, arrest Jenn Soto for prison. All right. So I'm going to give these shirts away. I think I'll give them away at the end of the show when we're all done here. And yeah, hit the like button, you guys. Let's get that in there. So, all right. You guys can all hear me, I assume. Okay. Let's see. It gets a little bit tricky when I'm running my phone and I'm running this at the same time. Volume up. Okay, you guys can all hear me, right? Thank you, guys. Come on in. I'm going to gift some memberships in a bit. I'm not sure why Deb says she can't hear me. Her and Chris are back there listening. So let's get started. Let me tell you what happened here. I've been talking to Deb and Chris for some time, all right? So it started out 6 months ago when I messaged Deb and said, hey, I want to find out what's going on. I have some very, very pointed questions for you. Not like hidden true crime, which we'll talk about because they bring up hidden true crime. Nothing like hidden true crime where they kind of just said a bunch of stuff. And I didn't hear much of an evaluation. We're going to just point questions about Jenn Soto and Maddie and some other questions you guys have. We're going to do that today. I have answers for you. Thank you, Nats, for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. Snee, thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership. If you guys have any If you guys have any questions later on, Deb is here with me behind the scenes, not at my house, on the phone to clarify and answer questions. Now, she was here with me when we did the previous show where I played the Hidden True Crime episode. I played Hidden True Crime. Okay, I played that and we went over that and she was there and she gave me lots of information. Okay, so I'm going to go over that. And we're going to go over that first so I can give you just right away, blast you with some information that you've been wanting to know. Now, Brenda, I have 77 questions. So the only way I'm going to answer any questions is when I get through that or if I need to clarify that. Now, if you guys have a super chat or a super sticker and you think it's really, really important, then I can get Chris and Deb to answer that. All right. They're right here with me. You can't see them, but they are. All right. They're listening, they're watching, they're here. I'm talking to her right now. So I'm kind of managing everything. So, you guys, let me show you that you guys actually are the ones that asked the questions. I only had about, okay, Chris is not here. He's still at the office, but he did answer the questions with Deb. They answered them together. And not only that, but Deb is right here. Deb, thank you, Deb. Deb's right here. Chris is still at the office. They answered the questions together that you guys asked. So we're going to start with that real quick. I'm going to show you. I gave you guys an opportunity to go to my community page and ask questions. All right. So I said, hey, you have a question for them. I only had 7 or 8 questions, guys. I sent Deb the questions I had. I said, I've got mostly questions about Maddie and Jenn. All right. So we went over the hidden true crime, and you guys had the opportunity to ask me anything you wanted. Tamika says, what does she think Stephan Sterns is covering for Jenn Soto for? Why is she concerned about Stephan coming back to the house? And on and on and on. You guys went and went and went. We had 13 pages of questions that you guys asked for. All right. And they were so kind as to add that. And there's no bias. It's just a straightforward answer. Now, maybe some of the things, of course, they're going to stand up for Stephan Sterns. That's their son, but they know where we stand on Stephan Sterns, and they know, and they stand that you'll hear as we go. All right. So, yeah, maybe Deb would like a Maddie shirt. We can ask her, Deb, if you want a Maddie shirt, I can certainly send that to you. Let me know. You can let me know in my text messages. All right. So again, I'm not going to be able to pay attention while I'm reading and talking through my phone with Deb to you. Now Deb did recently have she had an open heart surgery 2 years ago, guys. So, it's really messed up that Stephan got caught and did all this and then put his parents in that predicament. His mom just had an open heart surgery and she was healing from it when all this went down. So then, what was it, last month? She had not a stent, but one of her valves replaced in her heart. So there's a lot that comes with that, breathing, health issues, etc. I said, we don't want to cause any problems. So we're going to do it this way. All right, so let's start with this first. I'm going to show you where we started with. There's some things that I want to clear up before we get into all the questions. Yes, you guys say a prayer that Maddie gets complete and utter justice. If you guys want to pray for Deb and Chris, and that is great. You guys are so gracious to do that. I appreciate you. I'm glad you can separate who Stephan Sterns is and who his parents are. All right, that is not Stephan Sterns is not his parents. Now, Deb just had a heart valve replaced, and so she's recovering from it. All right. So yeah, I mean, could you imagine putting your parent through that? They have open heart surgery, they're still healing, and then you go do this, right? Now, later on, I'll pose the question. I wonder what would have happened to Maddie if she wouldn't have gotten her life taken. How would that have gone? And you guys can answer that with me, because I mean, if you guys listen to the Keimani Latigue story, or any of the ones where it's just generations and generations of abuse, that's where Maddie was headed with Jenn Soto. Jenn Soto was all so quick to hand anybody to Maddie and to gain monetarily for Maddie. And this is before Stephan Sterns. And I want to tell you, Jenn Soto was also into taking pictures and selling them before Stephan Sterns. So she plays dumb, you guys. She plays dumb, but don't let her fool you. All right. Don't let her fool you. She was going to go to school to become like a tech. She called it a hacker. She knows what she's doing. All right. So thank you guys for saying hello. Hello, everybody. What's up? I don't know if you guys can see that on my screen, but I'm just going to kind of start out. These are some of the text messages to clear things up that we talked about the last Hidden True Crime show. So people are, I mean, really, Deb was skeptical about answering or talking or anything. Do you see that? Yeah, Jenn is not dumb. She's manipulative AF. Do you see that message? Somebody messaged Deb and said, do you have any poodles not tainted by the fact that your son started RAPing a little girl starting when she was 8 years old? I wouldn't want God to think you were blaming Maddie for coming on to your man-child son. You're a disgusting and a fake Christian. All right. So that's terrible to be sending messages like that to anybody, let alone somebody's parents, right? You remember Lyle Dahmer. He supported his son all the way until his death. Actually, Dahmer died first, and then Lyle died way later. All right. So yeah, let's cook the potato, guys. We're going to hear a lot about Jenn Soto today. There's no proof of Jenn with the pictures, but there's a high suspicion, and the suspicion's already there with us. So we want the police to look at this, hopefully examine the contents of the phone more and realize that Jenn Soto was more than likely selling pictures before Stephan and highly involved with Stephan selling pictures. I want you guys to know that Maddie was on this path with Jenn before Stephan came along, and then Stephan came along and Jenn wanted Stephan to marry her. Jenn does not have full immunity. Jenn has a one-time immunity. That's it. All right. If the police find out that she was selling CSAM with Stephan and profiting, which I'm pretty sure she was, even Deb doesn't disagree with that. She thinks that, it was all both of them. All right. So let's make some French fries. Let's bake that nasty potato. Let's hashtag arrest Jenn Soto, you guys. And don't forget why we're here. We're here for justice for Maddie. All right. So let's talk about a few more things. So then we'll get into the questions. All right. Let me read this to you. So this one's, we didn't even know. I'm just clearing up a few things before we get into the questions. Yeah, trolls can go away. You guys will be deleted immediately. So don't waste your time here. We're not entertaining trolls today. All right. So, justice as long as Jenn is set free. Well, there will be justice, and that's what we're here for. We want justice. Now, we never even knew. You guys, I'm going to just answer one question, Randon. Did any of you guys know what Maddie got for her birthday? Did one person ever tell you? Did one person ever tell you what Maddie got for her birthday besides money? We never even heard from Jenn. Oh, yeah, she got birthday presents, and it was great, right? That's it. We never heard anything. So now, Maddie, we're going to hear a little bit about Maddie, a little bit about Jenn, and a lot about the dynamic. All right. So Maddie, let's talk about her for a second. She loved mermaids. She got a mermaid tears bracelet and 2 set mermaid's earrings for Stephan to give Maddie for her birthday from Deb and Chris, or from all of them. Okay, so this is the first time I've ever heard anything about Maddie and her birthday and any presents that she got. No one's heard that, right? No one's heard that at all. All right, now we don't have proof that Jenn's selling CSAM. That's what we need law enforcement for. I did not present anything as a fact. So Hardy Girls True Crime, if you're gonna come on and tell me how to present things, don't do that because you're wasting your time. I'm saying, in my opinion, I don't need to say that over and over. I'm not going to say in my opinion a bunch of times. So your comment doesn't need to go there. This is all in my opinion before we start. I don't work with the law enforcement, so I can't tell you that the law enforcement told me that Jenn Soto was doing that. So I'm going to say it once. This is all in my opinion, and this is all just us speculating here and making assumptions. So yeah, please don't come in my chat telling me how to present my case. All right. Cause that's not going to fly. All right. So I'm reading text messages to you guys from the screen. All right. So you guys, don't tell me how to present it and what I need to do. If you don't like it, just keep going. Or I'm not going to put up with that today. So for her birthday, she got bracelets and earrings and things from Stephan's mom and dad and Stephan. Maddie's life absolutely mattered. Yeah, nobody, whoever's disrespectful, yeah, just leave right now. All right. I'm going to present my case how I want to. And if you guys don't like it, then you guys can leave immediately. All right. So we also, I'm looking at the screen. I'm talking to you. All right. I'm talking to you. Deb says one person referenced many CSAM's arrests after Stephan's arrest and wondering if they were linked. I truly believe it's true. So Deb has been watching the stuff in Florida too and saying it's all speculation about it being linked to Jenn, Stephan, and the whole thing that we've said, that we've talked about. Yeah, I am ignoring the trolls, but I'm just saying, um, I'm just letting you know one time. Don't tell me how to run my show, anybody. If you don't like it, then leave. All right. Okay, so that being said, okay, so we talked about the appointment for Botox, and Deb wants to know where'd that money go? And then I want to clear up the seatbelt. We think, do you remember I told you guys the seatbelt in the front seat? There's a seatbelt in the front seat. Yes, everything is IMO. Everything's in my opinion, folks. This is my show, and I state it, my opinion. So I'm reading text messages. In my opinion, and in Deb's opinion, the dog seatbelts were always in the car. So you remember when I told you that doggy seatbelt that I thought Debra Sterns strapped Maddie in? That in fact wasn't that. He actually, we think, used a seatbelt. And this is by me talking to Deb saying that all the doggy seatbelts were in there at all times. So they always had 3 seatbelts in there. And she knows because he was using that car originally. All right. So what I speculated was wrong. Maybe he used that, but it was already in the seat. So that morning when Stephan Sterns went up to Jenn Soto's room and he said that he was going to walk the dog, he might have walked the dog, or he might have been using that as a way to, get more information from her without anyone knowing. All right. Thank you, Mama Fee, for becoming a new member. Thank you all here for supporting me. Those that don't can get out of here. Yeah, the poodle ambulance. There you go. So we clarify that by saying that the poodle ambulance always had 3 of those in the car at all times. So maybe he used it, maybe he didn't. I always thought that Stephan Sterns went in there, got the leash, and used that to hold Maddie up. But more than likely, he used the seatbelt, and that was already in the car. Whether he used it or not, I don't know, but that was clarified. All right. And you guys can read ahead of me if you want. I'm going at my pace. All right. So then I can't read that. It's too small. So let me go onto that screen and take a look what that says. And then, okay, no regular. Yeah, it was no regular seatbelt. And then she didn't want to have Maddie rescue damage. We're talking about the interview. Yeah, like and subscribe from Orlando. What's up, everybody? Yeah, you thought that too, Melanie. You thought that too. I thought he used that. I didn't realize it was the poodle ambulance and it was always in the car. All right. So then we went into giving away the interview. That was an interview about Maddie being abducted. Now, I got to tell you, that interview where Maddie was abducted, where Jenn keeps insisting, somebody messaged me this last week and told me that they're part of Jenn Soto's family and that they have proof that she was lying in that interview from the start. Now, I'm not allowed to say their name. Now, this is outside of Deb and Chris, but they messaged me and said that whole interview was very staged and so many lies, and they have proof. So I just need to call them, get that. That'll be a whole nother interview. But the reason I even talked about it right now was because they talked about it to me and they told me that they have proof of it. And so I said, oh, so I need to figure that out. All right. So let me get to this. Let me get to this. I can't even find I'm trying to find that. Let me find the file with the text from Deb. Okay. So I'm going to go. So now some more text. Let's just clear some things up. Deb says, spending time with us. Maybe it was you. Okay, so now I also told you that Jenn wanted Stephan to marry her. You know how Jenn always, she did not correct officers calling Stephan her husband, calling her Stephan's wife. She wanted that. Deb says she plopped down on the couch beside her about 1 year into the relationship, held out her left hand, and she said, you better tell him to put a ring on it. And I was acting thrilled to let her know that my real feelings about that was. I mean, who does that? At one time, she wanted to marry Stephan, and then another time she said, hell no, I'll lose my welfare. Then she also said that they felt like common law marriage people. So I talked to you guys about that before. Jenn absolutely stuck up for Stephan Sterns because I believe in my opinion, she's involved. And she also didn't want Stephan to leave. She didn't want him to get caught. She called Chris right away. That's in the text messages. She immediately called Chris Sterns and said, get a lawyer. Now, I heard that directly from Chris, all right? Directly from Chris and Deb. All right, so let's keep going. I can't see that little bit on the screen. All right, and then let's clear up some more things. We'll get to the Q&A. Does not want to be associated with... Okay, so this is about Stephan's brother. Yeah, Jenn's a deal. Deb said Jenn's a deal. All right, you'll get a little bit of that, but we're trying to definitely stick into like question and answer. It's kind of funny hearing that. All right, so Stephan's brother doesn't want to be associated with Stephan at all. So no questions about him. I wish there were more accumulated time that she could spend over 7 years. You'll hear in the answers how more or less between 30 and 60 days. They wanted to see Stephan more, but Jenn kept him to herself. Whenever Stephan was home, he would walk around on the phone on FaceTime, and Jenn would be trying to dictate what Stephan was doing. So we always think, Stephan was running the show. No, Jenn is running the show. In my opinion, I've always said she's the puppet master. Right, a couple more things. Stephan said, Deb says that Stephan would jump when Jenn said how high, right? She would say jump and he didn't even ask how high. Now she says, I believe she is behind all this. She isn't dumb. She does a great job playing the hard luck victim, though. And poor me, I had a bad back. I'm bipolar. I don't like my meds. I won't take them. I have a young child. That means I can't go do what I want. So I just want to stay high and sleep, not work. And she told that to Stephan's parents, right? You're trying to get this dude to marry you. And this guy that's, by the way, abusing your daughter, that you're letting abuse your daughter, and you're going to say this? This is like crazy. All right. So Deb said she never bought into the act. Maybe that's, she didn't want them to spend time with them. All right. So then a couple more things. She says that Maddie, I asked them about Maddie. She was very intelligent. All right. Deb says no signs of any of that stuff, right? Jenn and Stephan also shared a therapist, which is why Maddie wasn't in therapy if she had problems. If the therapist suspected that if the therapist suspected anything, she was bound to oath to call the cops, and the gravy train would be shut down. Right? So do you guys even realize what I just said? Jenn Soto was sharing a therapist with Stephan Sterns, who's abusing her daughter, but her daughter's not getting a therapy session because she doesn't want her to tell a therapist what's happening because she doesn't want to lose her gravy train. Again, all in my opinion. I'm not law enforcement. I don't have the paperwork that says here's the text messages that happened. Here's the text messages from law enforcement. But Jenn Soto shared a freaking therapist with Stephan, but never got therapy for Maddie, who was the one being abused, by the way, because the money would stop. All right. Thank you, Banana Pants. I've never seen you here before, but thank you so much for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. All right. So that's crazy. I mean, that's not even in these set of questions, just what we are talking about. Okay. So then she also said another thing that stumps Deb and all of us, because they didn't know about this until it hit either. Just like they're talking to them in the jail calls and they're hearing all this for the first time as well. Now, she said she saw Maddie get dressed in the morning. I'm sure she helped get her dressed, except she said Maddie was alive. BS. She also was off of her meds. How else would she know what Maddie had on? So we're just speculating here, right? She knew, also, you guys, you remember this. Jenn Soto, this is a fact, knew where the gun was in the room. She went into the room and there was camera, a tripod, lube, toys, and what did she think was in there? What did she think was in there? She told the cops that. All right. So you guys tell me. All right. So now again, speculation, getting more money off the dark web. if sex is part of it. I think it was her idea. Always more money. Now, again, you guys, I'm reiterating, she sent Chris a text message after seeing the pictures on the phone, and she said they found something. Get Stephan a lawyer now. All right. Who does that? Who wants to help the man that's RAPing their child? I'd be exploding, she says, a volcano of feelings. All right. And she was quick to let Chris pay for the room. All right. So, two things. She said, get him a lawyer, and then, hey, pay for the room, right? Yeah. Flesh torso. Hey, that was another thing. I never even asked about that. I was asking about Maddie and stuff. I never asked about that. She was a mandated reporter. So Jenn did what Matt did not want Maddie to talk. I believe that's why she kept him away from Tyler, kept Maddie away from staying the night at her friends, and many other things. All right. I'd need the lawyer. Yeah, right. All right. So that was it. I just wanted to clarify all this stuff before we get into the questions and answers, because these are the things that we talked about in the last episode. And I kind of just told you guys here and there while we were watching. I don't think you knew that Deb was on the phone giving me this information, but she was. All right. She was. You can see it right there. And I cut things up and cut it out. Mary Wilson, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can. Thank you, Thomas, for being here. My man. What's up? Welcome new members. Hashtag I took my meds. All right. So I'm going to pull this down. You guys, we're going to get to the question and answers. It's a lot of talking today. And thank you guys for being here and being so kind. All right. Thank you for being kind. And then I'm going to read this next. Again, I asked that you guys be kind. All right. Let's see. Is this the one? No, that's not the one. Let me present this to you guys. No, we're not going to do that. Hold on real quick. Share screen window. We're going to do it this way. And I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to read you in a second. I'm going to look down at you guys for a second while I put this up, and then I'll see if there are any questions. What's up, everybody? Before I get into reading this is the statement. So we did 13 pages of questions from you guys, all right? Now, Deb is here. Deb is right here. So if anything needs to be clarified in a bit, we can clarify it. She's happy to clarify it for you right here. E. Erickson says, I practiced criminal for 22 years, and you really get the grit of this far more than most people. Thank you. Good to see you here. All right. Yep. I'm drinking something. All right. So before I read this, I just want to make sure you guys are all here. Everybody's locked in. All right. So Josie says she went to the room with Stephan when she had family right there. Stephan should have then shared a room with Chris Soto. Not normal behavior for someone. Well, absolutely not. None of this was normal behavior. And that's what we're saying. We're going to talk about this today. And happy National Teachers Day for anybody that's here. That's a teacher, knows a teacher. You guys all have teachers for your children. What's up, everybody? And yeah, good to see everyone. Yeah, pub sub. Hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. Okay. So I am going to read a statement that they gave me. There's one statement, and then it's all going to be question and answer. And then after that, if you guys need me to clarify something, let me know. I'll do that. If you guys, I see all these other ones here. Thank you, Autumn, for becoming a member. Hit the like button. Carrie's been a member for 10 months. Thank you, guys. If you guys have any questions, you can do QQQ later on, or you can do a super chat or super sticker, and I'll get to it when I'm done reading. All right. All right. I'm going to read this to you guys. I'm not going to make you guys read. All right. So as Stephan's parents, this is from Deb and Chris Sterns, right? As Stephan's parents, we feel compelled to address the misconceptions surrounding our involvement in these tragic events. We had minimal interaction with Stephan, Jenn, and Maddie as a family unit during their 7 years together. These were adults raising a child, and we were not part of their daily lives. When Maddie mentioned co-sleeping, I immediately addressed it, though I didn't believe it warranted a report to the authorities. I counseled them to lock their bedroom door and refuse to allow such arrangements in their home. As parents, we try to protect our children, but sometimes they must learn difficult lessons themselves. Hence, Stephan being in prison, guys, as you know. Stephan was raised to respect rules and authority. Despite his flaws, impatience, occasional anger, he showed intelligence, artistic talent, and empathy. Tragically, many who benefited from his generosity were first to defame him and use these events. Now, again, I'm reading this statement from Deb. I do want to tell you, since nobody asked the question, which I'm really surprised, Deb says that whole Gray Hughes shit, all the Gray Hughes, the people or the guy that called into Gray Hughes, those, I think, did Gray Pubes get 2 callers? I don't know. Gray Pubes had some guys call in and say that, the Deb gave him a manila envelope with money. Deb, in front of Chris, says that's not true. She tells me it's not true. So nobody asked that for some reason in those questions. But as far as the Gray Pubes interviews with the friends, it's not true. All right. It's not true according to Deb. And if the friends, Stern's friends, that was not true. Now, if they want to reach out to me and try to save face and show proof, which I doubt they have, there's 666 people. Say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete utter justice. Yeah, Stern's friends, tube shoot lies. She says that was just Gray Hughes or Gray Pubes. I don't know how he got those people. We know Gary's a grifter, so I only believe what I see. I didn't see anything. I saw, him coming in. I saw him giving an interview, and nobody could clarify that. Now we're hearing it's not true. All right. Now I'm going to finish reading this. The YouTube community has largely followed a path of speculation rather than investigation. We chose to speak with Lauren and John Matthias because of their honest approach, declining numerous other interview requests. Despite our efforts to share the truth, we've been subjected to doxing, threats, and hateful messages. One that I read you guys earlier about, evil, and then the Stephan RAPing Maddie, which we know. We know. But they didn't do that. Stephan's in prison. He's going to face the consequences. The death penalty's on the table. We know that. Nothing's changed, all right? Now, the continuous spread of lies about their marriage, parenting, and supposed failure to recognize warning signs is particularly painful. You cannot miss what was never revealed to you. Those channels profiting from our suffering, selling merchandise, and encouraging vicious comments without moderation, which we've done here as well, right? I mean, Deb knows that. Deb originally, when she responded to me back, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we've been on that we've been on that train as well. I mean, hence this shirt, right? We I mean, we're not profiting off of it, but it's funny, right? We got to make light of these terrible situations. All right, so we deeply regret giving any interview at all. Our advice to families in similar situations would be to remain silent, as sharing the truth brings no comfort when facing those who wish worse for you. We have no part in what happened to Maddie, whom we loved. Her suffering is soul crushing, especially knowing our son was involved. They don't deny that, guys. They don't deny that. And we're going to hear probably more when the jail calls come out, because according to Deb and Chris, they're still talking to him and sending money. All right. So we're going to see all that when it comes out and some channel gets it and we report on it. It says, we're grieving parents, mourning Maddie's death, facing potential loss of our son to the justice system, and questioning if we or the medical community can have better guidance for Stephan's mental and physical development after the TBIs. Please allow us to process our pain without additional burden or public hatred. All right, guys, that's a fair statement. Fair statement. All right, let me take a look at chat and then I'll keep going. I never read this much. All right. Yeah, E. Erickson, I'm gonna second that. If that happened to my mom, I would be upset. Even if my brother, whatever they did. E. Erickson says these parents are in a horrific position. However, it's impressive to see them help their son and love him, but not condone it. Right. I know my mom doesn't condone the crimes that my brother or my nephew have done, but she supports and I never understand that because I'm not a parent that has a child in this position. I don't know what I would do. Right. All right, let's keep going. All right, as long as you guys are respectful, we can keep going. I see people here. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. You guys could be angry and still be respectful. I see little crude comments in here. Um, yeah, I see the crude comments, but we're gonna ignore them, Deb. All right, we're not gonna let them. We're not gonna let them. If we see any more of those, we'll just time out the comments. All right. Yes, Carly. Carly says my mom was the same with my brother. Exactly. Exactly. And we can't do that. Yeah, I need the vape because I can't vape while I'm reading. That's why. When Jenn finally goes to jail, you guys, if Jenn was to get arrested next week, I would take off the week and I would fly to Florida and go celebrate with you guys. All right. My house is done now and I can go fly out there. I'm just waiting for trial to come. All right. And I've told Deb that I'm going to go to the trial, to either one of Stephan's trials. She knows that. She knows that. Nothing's changed here. Nothing's changed. I'm still pursuing justice for Maddie, Stephan Sterns for the death penalty, if that's what comes. Many people aren't for the death penalty. I'm for the death penalty. All right. Yeah. Thomas says it's anxiety tick. I need my vape too, but I can't read and vape, guys. All right. All right. So let me read this and then we're going to go into your questions, answers. You guys did that. Deb, just don't let them get to you. All right. I won't. You don't. We're good. All right, Millie. Hey, my beautiful Millie. Millie, how you doing? All right. Yeah, if she goes to jail, we're going to celebrate together. All right. So Jay, Chris, and I both appreciate the chance you're giving us to dispel some rumors and misinformation. I know you're taking a risk in doing this, which is me. She didn't want me to do this really because she was worried about all the people being angry with me. And I was like, wow, that was pretty like caring and thoughtful because no one really gives a shit about me like that. Like nobody, yeah, we're all chilling. But I was actually, that was really nice. All right. So yeah, she knows that too. She was like, I don't have to do this because I don't want people to like hate, and I get hate anyway. Haters gonna hate, and people don't like me anyway. Even if I don't say a word, people don't like me. Right? So we're just gonna say that. Yeah, no one is a winner in the case, but I do hope Deb and Chris can feel some sort of relief by clearing up things to help them get through this terrible circumstance. I agree. All right, so let me continue reading, and you guys can kind of see it too. You also need to understand the infinite, I can't even read that word, infinitesimal amount of time we actually spent with Jenn and less with Maddie over 7 years. Jenn and Stephan were friends, on again, off again, boyfriend, girlfriend. It was also Jenn's idea that she and Stephan hook up. And we're going to address all this because we want to talk about them working together and all that. Yeah, haters going to hate and potatoes are going to potate. Right. We want her to get in jail. We want her to be in jail. We want law enforcement to look at those. We want Stephan to look at, or we not Stephan. We want law enforcement to arrest Jenn Soto with Stephan and look at those pictures that Stephan that they find and look at where they were going. We want them to look at it again. All right. All right. That being said, Jenn's idea to hook up with Stephan, they did not cohabitate for all those years. Many of you guys asked why they broke up and why they were off and on. And I'm going to tell you, according to Deb, what happened. All right. So they didn't cohabitate. Stephan lived off and on with us. Deb, I'm reading this. When living with us, he would go for extended visits a week at a time, sometimes, but usually just a long weekend. Given that, I don't know that I'm the best person to truly describe Jenn or Maddie, but I'll share with you what I know. There may be repetitive questions or ones that just restated, but basically the same. To which my answer will be AA, which means asked and answered. Okay, let's begin. I hope this doesn't cause you problems, Jay. I know you want the answers. They want the answers, and we want answers too. We're all willing to provide for you the best of our knowledge. We, more than anyone, want to know the truth. All right, and we do. Absolutely, all of us do. That's why we're here. We want justice for Maddie. All right. We want justice for Maddie. That's the only way. All right. So I'm just going to go through the questions now that you guys asked Many of them were answered already. The ones that I had, because she answered them before that. Yeah, Deb's going to join in the celebration of hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. I really want to know what involvement law enforcement finds with Jenn Soto, and I really think they need to look harder at the CSAM material and where it was going and the bank accounts, because Jenn Soto wanted to go to school to be a hacker, you guys. She was into computers, all right? She wanted all that, and she knew what she was doing. She knew how to set up the Bitcoins and the coins and the accounts without being detected. All right, Southern Cat said, I'm 50-50 on the death penalty. I just don't believe he unalived Maddie. I still think Jennifer Soto did it. There are way too many lies coming out of Jen's mouth. And there's more I'm going to prove about on that news video when I talk to one of Jenn Soto's family members or people that are friends with the family. They literally reached out to me. Jenn Soto's side of the family, guys. I hope you're listening up. Literally, I hope you're listening up. They reached out and said they have proof that Jenn Soto lied in those interviews, and they have proof of why she lied and how she lied. So this is not just coming from Deb reaching out or Chris reaching out. Okay. So there's more to come. There's more to come. Rachel says, sorry, I feel like Sterns did it. Hey, we're going to go with what comes out and what's revealed in the, or through law enforcement. But who's locked up for it right now is Stephan Sterns for both of the crimes. All right. All right. So what's Jen's personality like? Now, there was a lot more deeper, a lot more, racy words, but for these answers, Jen's personality is vacant, always high, sleeping, or segregating from us in Stephan's room, on the computer, or watching TV. And Deb, if you're listening here, one of the roommates told me that Jenn Soto went over to your house and cleaned Stephan Sterns' room because it was a pigsty. There was trash and food and toys and everything. And Jenn wanted to come over and visit your house, but she couldn't because Stephan's room was always so dirty. So I want to know, Deb, is that true that Jenn came over and cleaned Stephan's room? All right, so she's answering that while I finish. Did Jenn ever talk about the goals or future expectations for Maddie? No, but she did talk about her own goals. Yes, Deb. Someone said Jenn went over, or Jenn said that she went over and cleaned Stephan's room so she can go over and visit. So I want to know if that happened. All right. So she spoke about her own goals. She wanted to go to school to be a nurse, you guys. Jenn Soto wanted to go to school to be a nurse. When she couldn't qualify for that, she wanted to be a computer hacker. That was the goal, but it was really computer programming, but she called it a computer hacker. Apparently, she might have been decent at that, but she couldn't make herself get up and go to a job, much less school. Right? So there you go. That's question number 2 you guys asked and answered. All right. Next, did Maddie ever talk about goals she had for her future? And you guys know she was just turned 13. So her goals were getting a driver's license when she was old enough, maybe being a veterinarian, maybe an artist. She was very young. She was all over the place. Kids don't really visualize a future like us adults do. Again, that's just her interjection. So, and we're getting through this. You guys, thank you guys for putting these questions. Ida, thank you for being here, praying for everyone. Yeah, and you don't have to do that, Ida. You don't have to pray for anybody's son. You don't have to pray for anybody, but just pray that we get complete and utter justice for Maddie. All right. Now, Deb, if you do have an answer, let me know. She said, LOL, really? But I'm curious if Jenn really went over there and cleaned his room. There's so many, probably want to assume that choose ways him. And you don't have to believe anything, Mama Blonde from New York. You don't have to believe that Jenn was selling the CSAM. We already all thought that Jenn was involved. Who here in chat thinks that Jenn Soto was involved with the CSAM and gaining monetarily? We've all thought that. We're waiting for supportive evidence too. But many of us here in chat have already thought that Jenn Soto, hit a 1 if you think Jenn Soto was involved with the pictures and monetary gain, meaning she was making money with Stephan Sterns for the CSAM. We're not debating about Stephan. Stephan had the CSAM. He had lots of CSAM, but Jenn profited off of it from My opinion, Deb thinks so too. Deb said the same thing. Deb said she was all about money all the time, and she talked about, or it was heard that she was already selling pictures online. Maybe she was on OnlyFans, guys. Maybe she was showing her for JJ. I don't know what Jenn was doing with her for JJ, but Carrie says it right. She was too high to care. And then when she got too old, maybe she did that. Maybe she did that to Maddie because it would make more money. Thank you, Carrie, for the 199 super chat. Maddie will not have full justice if her mother is not held accountable. All right. So all you guys think that too. Every one of us speculates that Jenn Soto was involved in the CSAM and gaining monetarily, which means money. Right. Not that I ever saw, made more of it. There was sex instead of just photos. Okay. So Deb never saw Jenn come over and clean the room, but she says, I don't understand that, Deb. Made more if there was sex instead of just photo. Oh, the money would be more if it was sex instead of just photo. So Jenn was selling photos, guys. She was selling photos. She knew how to sell photos. That is not speculation. According to Deb, she's saying that she sold photos. I don't know if Jenn was into photography, but she was selling photos. If you ask her, hey, did you sell photos of like a sunflower? Were you selling photos of dolphins in the sunset? She was selling photos. But speculating that she would make more money with sex photos than not. So I'd love to find out. Yes, she was going to be a nurse so she can steal all their drugs. Just kidding. I was just kidding with that, guys. I was just kidding. But she did want to be a nurse. All right. Did Maddie bring Jenn joy, or did Jenn find Maddie intolerable? And again, there's no proof what Jenn was doing until law enforcement says that. I believe Jenn would sell anything, and we'll find out. All right. Now, truthfully, Maddie brought Jenn money. You hear that? Did Maddie bring Jenn joy, or did Jenn find Maddie intolerable? Truthfully, Maddie brought Jenn money, child support, and support for children through Florida's welfare. Also qualified for a nicer apartment. She would foist Maddie on anyone who she could. Her sister, her mother, Stephan. She was a very hands-off parent, and fighting was getting worse. And you guys got to imagine why the fighting was getting worse. It was because they were butting heads, and she had that Woody Allen situation in her head. Yeah. Call me Cupcake. Yep. Maddie was a cash cow. Yep. That's it. Bingo. How often did Maddie or Jenn call Stephan to mediate their arguments? Have you ever overheard them on the phone? All right. So these are your questions, guys. So thank you for doing that. Thank you to Tiff for typing these up for me. Every time they fought, which was a lot for the last 2 years of Maddie's life, he was their referee, the one that could talk either or both of them down. And I'm talking screaming physical fights. Okay, so when I read this, guys, when I read this screaming and physical fights, do you think a little bit more? Many of you think that Jenn Soto had a huge hand in taking Maddie's life. When you read that about them having physical fights, do you think that even more? Do you think that even more? Fighting with her daughter, guys. Fighting with her daughter. Do you think she accidentally took her daughter's life and Stephan dumped Maddie's body? That makes me think of it even more, guys. It does. It does when I see that they are in physical fights, because Jenn Soto lied to the cops, you guys. Jenn Soto told the cops that they don't fight very often. They hadn't had an argument for 3 weeks. And then she pulled their text messages up and it said, bitch, blah, 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 blah. You need to move out of my house when you're 18. So, guys, it's painting a bigger picture no matter what anybody says. This picture that's being painted is more of a completion, even if you believe one word or not. All right. Good to see some of you people in here. Why does I call him Gray Pubes? Because nobody likes Gray on my channel. He's been rude to everybody, and everybody has come to my channel and said I can't go to Gray because he's rude. All right. Yeah, try fighting over him. Yeah. All right. He said that too. He said that they would be flirting with him, and they probably were fighting over him too. I don't know. All right. How did Jenn talk to Stephan? Did she ever boss Stephan around, or is Jenn the type to be baby talk or sweet talk? Needy, lacking energy. I never heard them fight. Mostly it was just complaints. All right. No reports on why roommates or neighbors about fighting. Why was Stephan Sterns having a panic attack? That's a good question. I wonder if they even know that. Deb, you're here. Do you have any idea on that Saturday when Stephan, your son, sorry, Stephan, when Stephan was called over when Jenn called Stephan on Saturday before the birthday party, do you have any idea why he was having panic attacks and so nervous about going to see Maddie and Jenn? Did he indicate anything to you? All right, I'm asking that and I'm going to keep going. There is a good chance if we can get, yeah, absolutely. Let's get through this and see the response. But yeah, she just had her one of her valves she had one of her valves replaced in her heart, and so there is a chance. None we could speculate, but no. All right. So they don't know. They don't know about his anxiety. He didn't tell them anything. He didn't say anything. All right. No, she was not pregnant, little Redo. Absolutely. In my opinion, in the opinion of the Wallaces, Tatiana, Tyler, and Deb all said no, Maddie was not pregnant. All right. And they have been able to see her not only toxicology, but her autopsy report. All right. So no, Maddie was not pregnant. Autopsy said no, guys. The autopsy said she was not pregnant. Okay. Maddie was not pregnant. All right. Did the police interview the therapist at Jennifer Soto? No, you can't interview therapists, people. It's the love you, one love revolutionary. The HIPAA law does not let anybody know that. No, he didn't think that. Murder mystery Mimi, Stephan did not think that Maddie was pregnant. We've talked about that before, and that's not the motive there. I do not believe that's the motive. All right, just Josie. I'm going to keep reading questions. How far back the cloud goes. The moment she realized the moment she realized she killed her for the wrong reason. Yeah, crazy. All right, let's keep going because guys, let's. Yeah, I mean, I got so many more questions that you guys asked. I'm sorry if you guys missed the boat on asking the questions, but I did let you guys. How did Jenn talk to Stephan? Okay, needy, lacking energy, never heard them fight, just complaints. What was the reason did Stephan give you about having to pay rent for a separate room at Jenn's? All right. Now, I got to tell you guys, Deb is going to speculate here as to why she thinks that Stephan was stressing and he went over there. She thinks that Jenn may have sent him an ultimatum about something like, hey, this is done. We're done with this. You're not going to have access to Maddie anymore. That's what they think. All right. The statement, I can't risk anymore. That's only going to be Jenn that's going to know that. I'm going to keep reading, guys. All right. What's the reason did Stephan give about? Okay. The reason Stephan gave for paying rent was because they had entered into a platonic, non-sexual relationship, more just friends again, guys. So she had this guy that was just friends, non-sexual, more friends again over and putting Maddie to bed with him. Because of their relationship, Stephan just became another tenant. So he had to pay full rent. So they were broken up, right? They're broken up. And she said, listen, we're broken up. You need to pay rent like everybody else. And of course he was going to pay rent over there. I mean, Stephan had it over there too. He wasn't going to leave Maddie. We see that. We saw that in the note that says, I'll miss you. He wasn't going to do that. All right. So how much time or how many times did Maddie stay with you and Chris, including overnight? Over the years, maybe 30 to 45 days, she would often stay with relatives. It was more fun for Maddie to be with the cousins and friends than being in Northport with nothing to do. Next question. Why did Jenn, Stephan, and Madeline move to work for you and Chris? In May of 2020, we moved to Northport. Within a few months, Jenn and Maddie decided to join Stephan. So Jenn rented an apartment in Port Charlotte. Stephan was living with us at the time and then moved in with Jenn and Maddie and Sailor, their dog. Mid 2021, Jenn decided to relocate back to Kissimmee and Stephan moved in back with us. So you guys can see the pattern of the off and on there, all right? Stephan's social accounts listed him as a real estate agent. How long did they work and live near you and Chris? All right, hold on. All right. Stephan's RE license was inactive, and Stephan helped Chris from time to time. It was Stephan only. We have no idea what Jenn was doing. Also, just to put this to bed, Chris did not own any of the companies. You know how we thought he owned the eco homes and he hired Jenn? That's what we thought. I thought they hired Jenn. That was always what I heard. His business. He hired Jenn, hired Stephan. It wasn't his business at all. He just worked there. All right. Next, what reasons were given to you as why their relationship was off and on, always off and on. Stephan talked about Jenn being inconsistent with her medication and depression. She would then suffer. That affected him and Maddie. She became a weepy black hole of depression and used vapes, probably the weed ones, as well as other substances, which complicated things further. All right. Now, Deb, if you're listening right now, I'm curious if you know about any of the other substances by chance. If you don't, that's okay. All right. Can you tell us about any beautiful moments you and Maddie shared? Lots. New puppies, iPad art, puzzles, beginner crochet, making bracelets with the kit I gave her, and movies. She asked if she could learn to cook some things Stephan liked, and I said sure. So I taught her everything. So she was definitely into pleasing Stephan. I mean, after all those years, yeah, after all those years, antidepressant and maybe pain pills. So we don't know of anything further, but Grish nailed it when he said that she was probably taking those Xan bars and getting them off the street. She also got her medical marijuana card from somebody. Somebody gave it to her, guys. She didn't go in and apply for it. Someone gave it to her. So she faked the funk on that too. All right. You guys already answered what did Maddie like to do. So AA means asked and answered. How was Maddie as a whole? According to Deb, bright, loving, giggly, energetic, singing, playing with the dogs. She didn't walk as much as skip around. She was precious. So can you guys imagine her skipping around the house, playing with the puppies, doing things? And I know when you guys say how was Maddie as a whole, we all ask, did she show signs of autism? Was she slow? Did she have trouble learning? So I'm going to ask Deb that now while I keep going. Deb, did you see any signs of autism in Maddie? Was she slow? Was she not able to read? Was she like, did you see that she was autistic, or is that totally like a play up on Jenn's part to maybe get more money or make the media think that she didn't know what she was doing? Right? We already went over good memories with Maddie, asked and answered. Deb said not at all. She didn't see any signs of Maddie having autism or being slow or not being able to read or anything that would show that she's autistic. She said not at all. Bright and intelligent. She said that's probably, or she said Jenn's hysteria caused that. And more than likely it was Jenn's hysteria and her trying to get more funding, guys, because she was always trying to get more funding from Maddie. All right. At what point did y'all personally notice a change in Maddie's attitude, mode, behavior? Now, given the limited time we spent with Maddie, we never saw any change in her around us, which is, yeah, my daughter wouldn't go to my mom's house, which is grandma, and start acting in a bad mood and acting like that. All right. Did Jenn limit your time with Maddie? She says no. All right. Did you and your husband think that Stephan would take care of you in the later years? Let me come check out chat real quick. I'm glad I have my mods here today, so I don't have to worry so much. Yeah, I heard that too. I was reading something that said Jenn may have been what do you call that when you project onto your child the mental health type of things, and that's true too. But there's a word for that. All right, there's 395 likes and over 900 people in here. You guys do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Yes, Deb is texting me for more answers right now, even though she answered 13 pages of question with her and Chris. All right. She did. She actually says that she loved Maddie. She loved Maddie a lot. She straight up says she did. All right. All right, let's keep going. Remember to switch your settings so all the messages don't miss out on the combo. All right, guys. And remember, at the end of this, I'm going to give away some Arrest Jenn Soto shirt, and one lucky person is going to win that, which we cannot sell these anywhere. We're going to see something, say something, do something, We're not allowed to sell these shirts, but I have one printed long sleeve Forever 13 Justice for Maddie. I'm going to give away a shirt, and I'm going to give away 2 shirts, guys. Foxy Boxes also. Foxy Box is going to give away a Foxy Box. So we're going to be giving away 3 things at the end of the show. All right. All right. So make sure that you guys hit the like button. That's going to give you a chance to win if you hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, the chances that you win are slim to none because you're not going to be entered into the drawing. All right. So you got to hit the like button. And obviously, you have to subscribe to even be in here today. All right. All right, you guys, but you guys have to do that. I should give you the prom I wrote for, the poem. You should. All right, let's keep going. I got a lot to go. All right, did you think Steph was going to take care of you? And this is like my mom would say too. We had hoped that he would be close enough to help us if we needed it. However, we were taking steps to assure that we didn't need to depend on him or anyone to support or care for us. My mom says that too. My mom is like, no, you're not going to take care of me. But one day we take care of our parents, right? All right. By the way, I just saw Mama Pearl this last weekend and I spent some beautiful time with her. All right. All right. So next, did you see Maddie with Jen, how she describes her in any way? No. And yeah, there it is. Munchausen disorder. Yes. Some people were saying that about Jen. They were having conversations about that. You say like Eminem's mom. Yeah, I wonder what, or if it was just monetary gain. All right. Everything was monetary gain, in my opinion, for those that want to host my show. All right. Was Maddie happy as much as she could? That's hard to answer, guys. Yes, to our knowledge and infrequent observations. That was a good answer for not, that was a weird one. Was Maddie alert and assertive or opinionated? Alert, yes. Assertive and opinionated, and not around us. So you guys hear that? She wasn't like sassy, and that makes sense because Reese doesn't get too sassy in front of my mom, which is grandma. You know your boundaries with grandma, right? Even though Deb's not grandma, that was, she had Yolanda and she had Deb, and I don't know what extent Yolanda was it how she interacted with Maddie. I never will know. I will never probably have Deb on here because not Deb. Deb, maybe she'll come and say hi if it's not too bad. All right, what's the relationship with Stephan's brother? It was limited due to the large age gap and geographical distance. Due to his brother's job and family obligations, visits were limited. Deb, do you know, how many years apart are Stephan and, I think you told me, but how many years apart were Stephan and his brother? My daughter and my son are 15 years apart, and my son already lives out on his own and whatever. So that makes sense. Anyway, let me know how many years apart they are. All right. They're 11 years apart, guys. So Stephan and his brother are 11 years apart. He's already, he already had a life and moved on and moved out, possibly to the military and all that. So you know how that goes. All right. Now, what's Stephan's brother's current opinion on Stephan? He wants nothing to do with him. Makes sense. All right. What did you observe about Maddie? Asked and answers. What activity? Asked and answered. All right. Let's go on to the next one. I can see what's going on in chat. All right. What's up, Deb H? How you doing? Melissa, good to see you guys. All right. Was Maddie bilingual? Spanish, English, or did she just speak English? I think so. Jen's family was bilingual, so I think Maddie was, but I never heard her speak in Spanish. All right. If you saw Jenn Soto today, what would you say to her? I wouldn't even acknowledge her, much less talk to her. That makes sense. All right. All right. Well, thanks for correcting that. I never get those notices when people say it's not Munchausen by proxy. It's called factitious disorder. Probably not going to remember that, but thank you. I'll do my best to remember factitious disorder. I never get the memo when they change the whole, switch the game up. Yeah, nobody wants to talk to her. I don't think she would do an interview with me, but if Jenn Soto wanted to talk, I would let her lie to me. Sure. Let Jenn Soto come on and lie. We'll be able to pick it apart anyway. All right. Apologize. Okay, next one. When did Stephan first tell you that he found Maddie unalived? Was it before he was arrested or after? Okay, you guys were all here. It was on the jail call. You've all heard by now. And there's going to be other there's gonna be other jail calls coming out, guys, and I would let her lie to me. You got, I saw Thomas get a kick out of that. Let her lie to me. All right, let's keep going. That was funny. All right, where did I go? Back. Now I want to go back here. Okay. When did Stephan first tell? Okay, so jail calls, guys. We all heard on the jail calls, which thankfully we did. Have you ever started watching Happy Face? She doesn't know about this show, guys. So Happy Face Killer, we saw that. I've been watching Happy Face Killer. If you guys haven't watched Happy Face, go watch it. It's great. She doesn't know anything about that. How are you and Chris coping with this other than religion? That is really complicated answer. Obviously, our lives have changed. All right. All right. Here's one. Here's a good one. All right. What advice do you give to others in similar positions have they found themselves in? We really consider this question. It's really simple. Don't speak to anyone, including the news media. Don't answer your phones unless you know who's calling. Consider getting new phone numbers and don't answer the door. Get surveillance cameras, regardless of what you say, as truthful and honest as it may be. The media and worse, social media and YouTubers will twist and distort anything you say. The less you say, the better. The truth doesn't matter. Well, it matters here. We want to hear the truth. We want to hear lies. We want to hear all of it. So we're here for it. And Thomas Karras knows not to talk to media because they twist things up, right? They cut it so bad, they chop it all up. And then when they chop it up, they tell you something that they tell something you might want to get in trouble. Lisa Balwez, Lisa B always wants a poodle puppy. You better watch yourselves. People are gonna come get you for that. I saw people talking so much trash. I have a multi-poo, and someone was like, "Oh, did Deb give you that poodle? Are you best friends with Deb now?" I'm like, "Oh, dear Lord." All right. Anyway, go get yourself a poodle. They're the smartest dogs out there, guys. All right. I have a multi-poo and I love her. All right. So, did Maddie have anyone in her life that truly loved her? Absolutely. We loved her, and I strongly believe. Now, listen, I strongly believe her extended family loved her as anyone who knew her would, right? And I'm sure we all would too. But I got to tell you guys, I'm pretty sure that if Maddie's life had not been taken, she was on the path of some of the girls that I've followed the cases, Kaimani Latigue. What's the other girl's name where it's in the like generational stuff? I have a feeling that yeah, I have a feeling that her life would not have gone so well. All right. Mary says, Deb, do you know if Maddie was diagnosed by a doctor for ADHD and anxiety? That's a good question. That's a good question. Thank you, Clark, for the $4.99 super chat. Good question, because I never even heard Jen take Maddie. But I'm going to tell you now, Deb, do you know? I mean, did they ever talk about that? Deb, you heard Stephan and Jen talk a lot about the ADHD for Maddie. Maybe you heard about anxiety. Do you know if she was actually diagnosed for that ever? Like, did Stephan talk about her being diagnosed or any of that? Let me know. All right, I'll keep that up for a minute and see if she answers. I'm sure she will, but that's a good one. Doctors things are tricky. All right. All right. Do you believe Jenn and Steph? Okay, here's the big one. I was talking earlier, guys, and somebody told me how to address my channel. Do you believe Jenn and Stephan were making money on the CSAM? We have unproven suspicions based on our knowledge of their financial situations. All right. So we did talk about that. I believe that, and they also believe that. They also believe that Jenn and Stephan were making money from the CSAM. All right. In my opinion. Now, Clark, she says Stephan said she was not autistic, but maybe ADD. But nobody saw records or doctors or anything. And if she went, it was very minimal to the doctor. So yes, Stephan said that, but not autistic. All right. All right. So next. Where did you hear that Jenn was in a loony bin? She says not sure. I think a former roommate posted that comment. So the former roommate was on my channel, and that might have been another channel playing it, but that came from my channel. All right. That originated from my channel about that. All right. Where did you hear? Okay. How long was Jenn in Looney Bin? None of us know because of HIPAA laws. They won't let us know. Usually you're there for 72 hours and they release you. All right. It sounds like the Soto family hated. I didn't get that. Whoever wrote this question, that's a weird one. It sounds like the Soto family hated little Maddie. Is it because she looked like her father? No, I don't believe they hated her at all, especially because she looked more like her father. Yeah, no, that's a weird question. And I never thought that they hated Maddie. I think that Yolanda, though, highly disapproved of Stephan and Jen's relationship. And so therefore she was like, take care of your own daughter, in my opinion, to Jenn about Maddie. I don't think they hated her. I think they loved her. Look at what they're doing with Jenn right now. They're hiding her, guys. So I think they love Maddie. Do you know whether Jenn alienated Tyler? I have no knowledge about Tyler's dynamics of Jenn and Tyler's relationship. All right. You remember Stephan, when Stephan talked about Tyler, it's like he almost forgot his name for a minute. So I don't think they talked about it much. All right. No, we're not Facebook chatting. We're texting Foxy. She's texting me. She's on my phone, not Facebook. I don't do Facebook very often. All right. Did Chris have a job lined up for Stephan when he moved back November, December? Was that the reason he moved out, or just another one of Jen's lies? Good question. They will hide her, but they will tell us they lied over and over, that she lied over and over. Interesting. Why? Well, they're hiding Jenn Soto because Jenn Soto will be attacked by anybody that sees her out there. People want to see justice, and they believe that justice will not be served until Jenn Soto's arrested. Guys, we all feel that way. All right, so okay, here's the answer. Arrangements were being made for a possible apprenticeship as a site manager. So yes, Stephan had something lined up. Given Stephan's precarious financial situation, the need for a better paying job with a career path, we thought it would be better for Stephan to return home to focus on a job with a career path. From the time we began discussions in late fall of 2023 and Stephan had his first interview, the company decided to freeze hiring and the job opportunity evaporated. Too bad that didn't happen, because Maddie might still be alive. But if Maddie were still alive, it just makes me wonder when I hear all this, like what happened and how Jenn was giving Maddie to anybody, how Maddie would be right now. I feel so bad about that. I feel like Kaimani and Naziah Harris, guys. Naziah Harris. I feel like Jenn had her, even though you guys see a different facade with the Soto family. The Soto family, in my opinion, has a facade of having money and being looking nice and whatever, right? A facade. So I still think there was a lot going on behind the scenes that we didn't know. All right. No, they're not going to do. No one's going to do that. I doubt it. Marilyn says, "Will Deb and Chris urge Stephan to plead guilty for the CSAM? Will Madeline keep her privacy and dignity and spare everyone for 1,000?" Yeah, no, I doubt it. I doubt they're gonna. Deb, do you hear that one? Are you and Chris going to urge Stephan to plead guilty for the CSAM? I think it's a strategy, Marilyn. Will Madeline keep her privacy and dignity and spare everyone from the 1,000? I don't think that's their option. But Deb sees this. I'll leave it up for a minute. I don't even think it's that. I think it's a straight up strategy. She can answer. She says no. Yeah, no, she's not gonna urge him. And I believe it's a strategy. And I don't even know. I gotta tell you, I don't know if the prosecution, I'd love to know if the prosecution would even offer a plea with that many photos, guys. So yeah, that's interesting. And she says it's not up to us. Yeah, unfortunately it's a strategy. I agree with Jay about the Soto family facade. Yeah, they have a huge facade. Huge facade. All right, let's keep going. Did they know Jenn was planning to move back to her house in the near future as Stephan's job with Chris had fallen through, and then Jenn hoped they would get themselves, the three of them, a place and cohabitate purely as friends? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Not at all. All right, so posers, a bunch of posers, the Sotos. Jenn Soto was bi. Do you think that was the reason she had no real desire to stuff with her? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. They were together for a long time, but she called it. Jenn Soto called it. Stephan was more interested in Maddie than he was in Jenn. Jenn was like in this spiral of I'm needy and taking pills and being mean. And I'm telling you what Jenn was. All right, okay? This one I'm not even going to answer this. I don't know what this one is. I'm not sure how to answer that. Okay. After Maddie giggled when she told you about co-sleeping, why didn't you do anything? It's a good question. In fact, I did. In fact, I took immediate action. As I mentioned in Lauren and John's interview, I called Jenn and Stephan into the living room within minutes of hearing that story from Maddie. I sat them down and told them what Maddie told me. After they confirmed the co-sleeping, I made it crystal clear that I heartily disapproved of co-sleeping. She was too old for it. And Jenn did nothing, guys. Jenn didn't do anything. Jenn continued it. And the night she had Stephan come over because she needed a break, she immediately sent Maddie to yeah, you're right there. There's no deals. The prosecution is never going to give a deal for that. Never, unless they don't have enough evidence. Now, maybe if they ever pursue Jenn, they'll give her a deal. But for this, no. All right. Jenn did Jenn essay Maddie? Do you ask your son or told them? Did Maddie tell her? That's strangely worded question. I'm not sure what you're asking. Okay, so Jenn's essay means actually assaulted. Nobody would know that. We speculate that, but we don't know. All right. What did you mean by saying it would be? Okay, this is a good question, guys. What did you mean by saying it was Maddie's time to not be here on live? Now, before I read this, I'm going to tell you Naziah Harris. I'm going to say that if Maddie were still alive right now, she was on the path that Naziah Harris was going because nobody cared about nobody cared enough to tell anybody. They were treating it as like it was their enemy. Jenn was treating Maddie like they were in a competition. Naziah Harris and family were treating her like she was a competition with Jarvis Butts. Jenn Soto was treating Maddie like Maddie was her competition with Stephan Sterns. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, yeah, what more could Deb do, really? I mean, the one time that happened and she said that she's not going to call the police and say, I'm turning you in for that, when that was the only thing that happened. She said it, they did it. She's saying she didn't see any signs, guys. So yeah, I mean, what more could she have done? All right, that was a weird question. Okay, let me finish this one. What did you mean by saying it was Maddie? Okay, Naziah Harris, I say. When I made that comment, it was coming from a place of deep sorrow and spiritual reflection. At that point, we already knew about the sexual assault. I said we all have our time to leave this earth. And maybe God, all right, I'm going to keep going. Maybe God thought this would be a good time to take Maddie, because when I said it, we already knew about the sexual assault. That was my reason for the comment. I couldn't imagine God allowing that to happen to Maddie, or that, and she's saying my son could be part of it. And she knows her son is part of it. He's sitting in jail right now. But sometimes even God can't just make things stop except to take the person out of the situation. I wasn't being callous or flippant by saying it anything but that. I find solace in knowing that Maddie is in heaven, surrounded by God's love. No more pain, no more abuse, just eternal love. All right. And she didn't have to answer that question, guys. She answered it. I don't even know if I would attempt to answer that, to be honest with you. All right. Yeah. And if you guys want to get me geek bars, go ahead. You guys can get me that. All right, guys. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, super chat, super stickers. And thank you so much, Synth, for the 20 Guilty of Crime memberships. You guys help to support the channel. All right. Knew about the essay, but still don't urge him just to say he's guilty. Yeah, Thomas, I hear you on that. I hear you. I don't think that they even have that opportunity. I don't think that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you guys are saying. Why didn't you call Child Protective Services? We never saw any flags. We saw nothing in Maddie's personality and interactions with all of us at any time that gave any of us concerns. And we asked that about everybody. Why the frick didn't the roommates call when they saw Stephan in the room with Maddie, or upstairs in the room? Why didn't they call? Why didn't Yolanda call the cops when Jenn said, or Maddie said, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with you, Grandma, or I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep alone. And she's crying. Why didn't Yolanda do that? Why didn't the roommates that were there all the time, why didn't they do that? Right? And we just asked Deb, why didn't you do that? Deb, why the frick didn't you call Child Protective? Because she said they never saw flags in Maddie's personality interactions that gave us any concerns. All right, there you go. All right, yeah, she doesn't have to answer any of this stuff. She really doesn't, and I appreciate that, Deb. All right. In retrospect, did you see red flags now that you may have missed? Okay, we talked about this too in Stephan's adolescence or teens. I had talked to her about this too, and she said that she didn't notice that ever with Stephan, that he was interested in children until Maddie. This one, she says, not any red flags. He participated in ROTC sports and his friends. He was a typical teenager. All right. No, you're good. You're good. And I get that, Thomas. I get that 100%. I would not be saying I'm not good, especially since a man was rescued from being a hostage. Okay. I don't know. I'm all right. Let's keep going. All right. Are you still in contact? Okay, so this is a big question that I had. I did not see the records, you guys. I did not see the records. Let me put this up because this is important, you guys. We are here for justice for Madeline Soto, which means that Stephan gets prosecuted to the fullest, and may all the information come out that he's part of, and may Jenn Soto get arrested and prosecuted for what part she's done. Miss Q, God swept in Maddie's, saved precious Maddie, because nobody in her life did. Thank you, God. Right. Are you still in contact? Okay, this is the question for me too. I did not know that. Yes and yes. So Deb and Chris are still contacting him. You guys are gonna get more phone calls, and they're sending him money. Why'd you do nothing? Asked and answered. Right. Remember, when we're done with the questions here, we're gonna do some giveaways. You got to hit that like button to be entered in the drawing. All right. Why would you think? And remember, for the drawing, guys, it's a Justice for Maddie long sleeve t-shirt and a shirt to arrest Jenn Soto, and a Foxy box, guys. Yeah, I know. Let's no ugly comments, guys. I don't know what, but let's not do that. Why would you think Stephan wanted to know where the body was? That's why he placed her where he did, when he took every step to try and conceal where he put Maddie. Why would she even think it's okay to make that comment? Please explain why you think this when Maddie was put in such a rural area. Again, she didn't have to answer this. She says, we have no insight into Stephan's thought process. We can only imagine what was under, or that he was under a lot of stress. Hence, guys, that he messed up, and the fact that he messed up and they messed up so bad is why we found Maddie's body so soon. That and Thomas Karras, right? That and Thomas Karras. Yeah, that's a good question, Frank. I wonder what that is. Deb, do you, if you don't mind, why all the equipment in the storage? I don't even know if there was a lot of equipment. I'm asking the question, why all the equipment in Sterns' storage unit? I don't even know if that was Chris. Oh, you think so? He was driving around. I can't say that word, but looking, trying to drop Maddie's body. Stephan also wanted to take his own life. I think that's what she's saying, is why what he told his parents, is when he was driving around, after Maddie's life was gone, Stephan, I think she's saying he was driving around thinking about taking his own life. Again, that's what she's telling me. That's Deb. All right. So we're going to see if we can get this answer in a minute. Why are you speaking out now? To provide clarity, since there has been considerable misinformation about Stephan, his early life, upbringing, and our role as parents. Please understand. All right. And I don't even know that. This is good. Please understand, from the moment of Stephan's arrest, we fully cooperated with all authorities involved. And yes, we do see that. You guys talk to the cops. You've been talking to them in the calls. And, Deb, you guys, Stephan talked a lot more than he should have. All right. So she says there's no equipment, guys. It was all furniture and stuff we had no room for. So I don't know what equipment people are saying or whatever, but I don't think it was equipment. It was, they found the hard drive in there, but it was furniture and stuff that their house didn't have room for, which we have a storage like that too. All right. Yeah. And Stephan Sterns loves to try to manipulate his parents. Right. Okay. So no equipment. And they let the cops, Frank Shaw, they let the cops in the storage unit to get whatever they wanted. So they weren't hiding equipment or anything. And I never saw anything that said equipment either. Yeah, MM, that's a good point. Deb and Chris have 2 sons raised under the same roof. Why are they so different? Bad egg. Interesting. She said it was a blank hard drive, guys. So I don't know where the other 135 or whatever thousand images were, but that'd be interesting to look back at all the things they got. All right, so next one, and thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for all you guys that are not trying to make my my life more difficult. That's a good question. And if that happened, good question, Sharon. Okay, thumb drives. That's what it was. Okay, so there was a blank hard drive, guys, and then thumb drives. So I guess some images came off of the thumb drives. I had no idea. Now, Deb, I heard you talking about this, I think in the Hidden True Crime interview, that cops or maybe the ambulance, or there was a report that says you were outside screaming Maddie's name when they rolled up. Is that true? Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. So, guys, before I get to this answer, Frank Shaw, you were talking about the things in the storage. Deb says that they found the thumb drives and they turned them in. The cops didn't even find those thumb drives. The parents did. So, when I say the parents, Chris and Debra found the thumb drives and they turned them into the police. All right. So, I mean, that says a little bit of something. And Deb knows I'm not sitting here saying, Okay, so that's a good question. They were in his room. The thumb drives were in his room with all that CSAM stuff. Thomas Carrot says apparently she was talking to God, and yeah, that sounds crazy. But Deb, did you go outside and scream Maddie's name when the cops came? That's a weird. I remember hearing that. They made a report, Deb. The police made a report, or the ambulance came and said you were outside when the cops rolled up and you were screaming Maddie's name outside. And then I remember you saying that you didn't go. They said the ambulance came and you went, but that's not true. I remember you saying that, but I'm just trying to figure out what actually happened. Were you outside saying Maddie when they came? All right, she'll get to that in a second. What were the dynamics of Jenn and Stephan's relationship? All right, one's a good one. Totally codependent, but Jenn was the controller. Jenn could not stand being out of control for Stephan, or out of control of Stephan. When he was with us, he walked around with her on FaceTime. I'd look up and there would be Jenn staring back from his propped up phone. When I asked her if she was high because she looked high, she'd smirk and say, "Yup, I'm baked." All right. Hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. The potato. If you find that funny, I find that funny since you refer to her as a potato. All right. So she's a baked potato. She was high. She didn't even care. She's high. And I mean, that's a shame to tell the guy that you want to marry that, to tell their parents that you're high all the time. That's pretty low. All right. Sharon, Sharon, I'm going to answer your question right now about Deb screaming Maddie's name. She says no. I never knew the cops were there. No ambulance. I was talking to God. Okay. Asking why Maddie. And yes, I screamed her name. Okay. Did you guys hear that? And Thomas Karras, did you hear that? Sharon, did you hear that? Chat, did you hear that? Deb didn't know the cops were there. There was no ambulance. She was talking to God, asking why Maddie. And yes, she screamed Maddie's name. All right. You guys all hear that? All right. She said, I was still thinking Maddie was abducted. I was asking God where Maddie was. There you go. And remember, Jenn Soto went on the news, which I'm going to find out real soon about the lies that she told to the news. And who knows the lies, and they can prove it that Jenn Soto not only was lying on the news, but other things about the news from Jen's side of the family. They reached out to me, guys. Okay, so everybody thought Maddie was abducted at this point, guys, and she was out there saying, "Why Maddie? Why'd you take Maddie?" Remember, Stephan was devastated. Jenn didn't seem too devastated. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Deb, for your time and honesty. You do not have to answer any questions, especially some of these really shitty ones. I appreciate it. You really don't, and thank you. Yeah, the police tried to make it seem like Deb was shouting into the woods. I know, right? Thank you for answering that. The police did make it seem like Deb was shouting into the woods looking for Maddie. I thought that too. I was like, why the hell would she be screaming in the woods for Maddie? And then I was like, did they think Stephan took her there? All right, here's a big question. A lot of us answered. So now we got an answer for that. I was always very curious about that. I was like, what the heck? All right, sanctuary behavioral health and wellness. Thank you, Deb, for being here tonight. Prayers for your family. I can't imagine how difficult this has been for you. Thank you. Thank you, Sanctuary. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's more than Jenn did. Jenn didn't even leave the house. And Jenn lied to the news station. And there's a lot of things she said. She never cried, never nothing. So that's interesting. Deb says woods. There was a vacant lot next door and Highway 75 behind us. There was no woods there, by the way, guys. There's no woods. So like now we see how things get spread, right? We see how things there were no woods. All right. Let's keep going because you gotta finish the questions that you guys did, that you guys asked. All right. What was Jenn's wait. Sorry. When Jenn worked at Eco Homes, how were your interactions with Jenn? There were none because I never worked there. Chris was not in her division and had no supervision over her. Jenn's time at Eco Homes was very short, less than a month, I believe. Chris did not hire Jenn or fire Jenn, nor did Chris own the company. He managed sales and marketing. Thank you for clearing that up because I always thought he was like this baller. He used to be a cop baller that owned these businesses. He actually was only a cop for a short time, way back in the 70s, guys, for not very long. All right. So hit the like button, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have a giveaway soon. All right. Yeah. God, I love Thomas. Thomas says, I guess 3 woods would be considered woods to a cop. There were 3 trees and Highway 75. She's calling out to the woods, Maddie. Then a car goes by on the freeway. All right. All right. So, what was Jenn's personality before she met Stephan? How did it change? I don't know how she knew that. They didn't know that. They never knew Jenn until Stephan and Jenn were dating, right? Maddie. Oh, wait, there's a car. Shh. All right. Sorry. All right. Ugly cry. I never heard that before. I've heard that before. And Jenn is already ugly, so imagine her ugly crying. All right. All right. That's in my opinion, guys. Don't get mad. This is a asked and answered. What was your view on the death penalty before and what is it now? Good question. We have not really given it much thought until now. I can't say I always agree with it, but we know it's part of the package that Stephan may be facing. While this is painful to consider as parents, we have to come to a place of acceptance of that which we cannot change. She didn't. She didn't shed a effing tear. Jenn Soto didn't shed one tear at all. And this is according to Deb seeing it. Probably Stephan. I mean, Stephan says that Jenn was hurting mother, but we never got to see that. All right. What do you think is a fitting punishment for her son? All right. So this is an honest answer from Deb. There's still so much we don't know about what happened and the impact of Stephan's TBIs, which, by the way, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deb, didn't you find the paperwork now to Stephan, the information you have on his TBI, and you sent it to the defense? All right, so I'll ask you that and finish reading. From what we have been told by multiple medical professionals who shared information with us, concerning new information about the effects of TBI during juvenile years, perhaps long-term placement in a hospital for therapy and rehabilitation in a secure facility. That's going to be interesting. And yes, she found the whole file now, and the defense has them. So, guys, be prepared for the trial to be pushed out even farther, guys. Again, I already told you I'm coming to the trial no matter when it is, and I'll be there for a few days. I'm not going to be there the whole trial, but yeah, this is, and Deb and Chris are in a position no parent should ever have to be in. Oh, especially after recovering from a freaking heart surgery, man. My uncle died a few years back from having a heart stent put in, and then they did it, and like the next week he died. So that's like serious business there. No, there's absolutely no excuse for what Stephan did. So I'm on the same page as you. Call me Cupcake. Um, no, that wasn't related, Gemini. The torso was not related to finding Maddie. Is that Deb? You found the torso doll thing in Stephan's room, right? Did you find the torso doll with the thumb drives and stuff? Did you find that at the same time when you found that? People are saying that you were screaming Maddie's name because you thought they found you found her torso with that sex doll thing. Yeah, I think that's all mixed up. It's all mixed up. All right, let's keep going while we wait for the answer. What do you think? Okay, so we just got that. We just got that. Next one. And you guys could be upset about whatever you want if you don't like the answers, but that's the answers, guys. Okay, so she says, ugh, yes, the doll drives later. So they found the sex doll later than the drives. And no, I did not think that was Maddie. I don't know who said that, but I never thought that. But yeah, that's funny. Um, all right. That's no. Okay. Do you and Stephan have a relationship with the other son? We do. Stephan does not. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I am talking to Deb right now, Rebecca, and these are all of Deb's question and answers, Deb and Chris. I'm talking, she's right here on my phone. But she says the sex doll scared the crap out of her, though. When she went in there, it's like, oh, I mean, that's like heart stopping to find a torso doll when all this shit's going on, right? So the torso for the watch. Did she check the torso for the watch? Not stupid. Oh my goodness. All right. Um, uh, has this has this all cost you and Chris any business opportunities? No. After 7 years, we decided it was time for change. While the Southwest Division faced some challenges with project timelines and adjusting to the market, these circumstances actually created an opportunity for Chris to explore new career paths. The timing worked out well. Well, that's good. That's good. That would suck if you lost all your business opportunities and money and so forth. Because yeah, that's rough. I mean, Jenn had a small little stupid job at Disney, and they're like, get out of here, nobody wants you. All right, we're almost to the end, guys. We're almost to the end, and then we'll do a giveaway or giveaways, several. All right, what do you want to see happen to Jenn Soto? Co-defendant and in jail. Now, I wonder if they would ever do that. I don't think so, since they arrested Stephan, but she should be charged, in my opinion. Now, Deb's saying co-defendant and in jail. That'd be interesting. I wonder if they would ever do that in Florida, put her as a co-defendant in one of the cases or both, since they already have Stephan arrested. Yeah, lots of questions. How was your extended family? How's your extended family reacted? Have they been supportive of you at all? They are supportive of us. Stephan, not so much. So listen, guys, their family is right. Their family is being supportive of Chris and Deb, but not of Stephan. They're not going, oh, let me get Stephan's ID so I can give him money. But as parents, they're being supportive. All right. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer had a full doll, though. It was like a mannequin. All right. All right, let's keep going. She is part of it. Jenn Soto is part of it, but I don't know that they would put her as a co-defendant. How did Jenn and Stephan treat Maddie in your presence? Kindly, right? Remember, when you guys, and these are all asked and answered. When was Maddie around? Were you alone? How did Maddie act when everyone was together? Asked and answered, all right? So some of you guys asked same questions, different ways, and so we typed it up. All right. Do you know how Jenn was a substitute teacher? Or do you know that Jenn was a substitute teacher? Did she sound the same way she does now when she was a substitute teacher? I doubt she was high while she was teaching. If so, that was short-lived, guys. No, and I wouldn't know. This is the first time I've ever heard that Jenn was a substitute teacher. All we knew was that she had several short-lived odd jobs, right? Remember, she couldn't keep a job very often. She couldn't keep a job, and she couldn't keep it for long, and she didn't want to lose her welfare, her child support, whatever, food stamps, whatever, any of that, right? All right. So no, she taught study hall. Banana says she taught study hall. All right. Why does Deb hate Jen's family so much? I dislike them, not hate them. Okay. And why? Do you have a reason why you don't like them? Is it because what? If you want to answer that, you can, Deb. Why do you dislike Jen's family? Did they do anything to you particularly? Is it something with Stephan? Is it the whole case? Anyway, if you want to answer it, you can. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, everybody, if you guys, for those of you that don't give people grace, then you're not going to get grace when you need it. So remember that, guys. Remember that. Anyone that comes at me crazy or comes at Deb crazy or anybody, you guys are out there and you're coming at people hard. Well, guess what? When you need grace, you're not going to get it either. So yeah, give some grace if you want, if you think you deserve it in times of need. Okay, so Deb says she didn't like Jen's family because they were rude to Stephan even during holidays, but we treated their daughter with respect. Okay, that makes sense, guys. So you guys know Jen's family hated Stephan. You remember in the Yolanda's office when they were all in the office, everybody was like 10 feet back from Stephan and Jenn. All right. All right. All right, let's keep going. I give a lot of courage to come forth. Yeah, okay, so that was a good one. Yeah, I don't know about that. You'd have to ask. Yeah, Melanie, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I agree, but many people have glass houses in YouTube. Many glass houses in YouTube, and just because they're a user that people can't see, they think that saying rude stuff is like they're gonna, you never get away with anything. And yeah, why would Jen's family? Well, they're protecting her because they have this facade they don't want to break, Brenda. In my opinion, right? In my opinion. All right, let's keep going. I got to get this done. I already ran out of a drink once. All right, why didn't Deb and Chris make Stephan get job training? Okay, well, before we even asked this question, guys, you can't make your kids do anything when they hit a certain age or even in teenage years. So that being said, my son lost his job not too long ago. He got another one. It's not a job I like. I told him not to get it. He did it anyway. All right. So that being said, why didn't Deb and Chris make Stephan get job training and make his own way? She says, we tried multiple approaches through the years, trying to help Stephan find a professional path. We provided opportunities, financial aid, offered to pay for necessary educational support, even if it meant we would return to California or go to Colorado. Nothing clicked. All right. And there's a lot of questions, you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Chris and Debra, for answering these. Yeah, he's a grown ass man. Like my son doesn't listen to me anymore at all. All right. All right. So we got a lot of questions that people I see in chat. Maybe you guys came late. All right. Does Deb understand now that Stephan didn't have insomnia and he was up all night playing with his photo collection of abused children? Stephan has medically diagnosed condition that affected his ability to sleep. While he may have been doing exactly that, we weren't in the room with him. Anytime I ever opened the door, he was playing Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons. And sometimes we'd hear the TV on while he watched movies. Makes sense. All right. How do you feel? How do the Sterns feel about accountability? Is it a thing to outsmart or walk into humbly? We recognize the gravity of the situation and its impact on all that are involved in suffering of Maddie's loss. All right. I mean, there wasn't any that they didn't answer. There was none that they said, I'm not going to answer. So, all right. Do you feel guilty for not reporting it now? Because had you reported it as any normal person would have, you could have saved Maddie's life. So, do you have any guilt for not reporting it to law enforcement or child protective services? No, there was nothing to report. As previously stated, Maddie acted in a normal manner. We had no concerns. You cannot miss what was never revealed to you. Again, and I asked that to Yolanda. I asked that to all of the freaking roommates that live there. I asked that to anybody. And all I could say is either you can't report what you don't have that you missed, or you maybe the roommates didn't want to get kicked out. But in Deb's case, no, she says there's nothing important. She said that several times, 7 ways from Sunday. Right? What is it that kept you from going for so long, and what changed the regular contact and funding you were doing for him in the beginning? What keeps us going is that we love our son. Nothing has changed. We are in contact with him as much as we're allowed. That makes sense. We are normal. Yeah. All right. There's a lot of questions, you guys. That was really nice, by the way, of you guys to answer these questions. There's a lot of questions. All right. Miss Marshall says, Deb, I'm sorry I disrespected you and Chris. I hope you can understand I'm infuriated that your son had been grooming and abusing this child, and you didn't seem angry with him. It sickens me. Well, yes, we're all sickened by Stephan. I don't know that she doesn't seem angry. She actually does seem angry. If you go to the Hidden True Crime channel and you watch that interview again, she does seem angry and that's why we did more pointed questions here, because I don't want to like draw out these things. But Miss Marshall, I appreciate the comment. Thank you for saying that. Good to see you, Goldilocks. Damn, I would have rewrote these questions. Yeah, Nettie, Tiff put the questions in. She didn't rewrite them, and Deb still answered them. So, I got to give respect where respect is due. All right, you said Crazy Maddie lived through Jen's various partners. This was your email to Stephan after he went to jail. Could you elaborate? From the conversations I had with Jenn, she shared a variety of relationships that I can only imagine would have been confusing for Maddie at times. Right. And Jenn went around talking about that, guys, or Deb wouldn't have known. Many people wouldn't have known. Jenn went around like thinking it was cute and funny to be like, I have crazy exes and I'm high all the time. She didn't think this was going to happen. She didn't think the world was going to look at her and examine her under a microscope. But she didn't think that her daughter was going to lose her life and then it be into public, thrust into public. All right. All right, let's keep going. How did you become aware of these things? Did Stephan say things to you, and how? There you go. How was he aware? Did Jenn tell him? Did Maddie tell him? Jenn told them. Jenn told Stephan's parents all this. She'd walk around and just be like, "Oh, I'm so depressed. My back hurts. I need to get high. I wish your son would marry me. Oh, never mind. I don't want to lose my welfare." Who does that shit, guys? Yeah, it is. I agree. They don't want to shut him down. They're in a stressful situation. Thank you, Indy. Thank you. All right. So Jenn Soto, we agree here. Yeah, people always have shit to say. It doesn't matter what don't worry about it. All right. How did you become okay? So Jenn walked around telling everyone that she was high and giving her all this, oh, they're crazy and this and that. Jenn is weird as she looks, guys, and I'm sure even more. What was so crazy about Jenn's other relationships? Jenn spoke about some fairly crazy people that she dated. Her words exactly, guys. Crazy. I believe she would know best how to describe them, and I just quoted her. So apparently Jenn thought it would be cute to walk around saying shit like that, and it's not. The other question was asked and answered. Did you and Chris feel like Stephan's covering for Jenn in any way? Chris and I do have the same questions and concerns about the whole situation, the dynamics of the relationship. We do have some thoughts about Jenn's role. Thank you. We all do. Thoughts, but they don't know. None of us know. All right, we made it through all of them, and I barely have anything left to drink. So, that being said, you guys, we made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. All right. Thank you, Deb, so much for answering extra questions and whatnot. I'm going to pull this down, you guys. If you guys have any last questions while I start loading up, we've been at almost 2 hours. I'm going to do a quick spin for a couple winners, and then we're going to move on. All right. So while I put this up, if you guys have a question or whatever, too, that we haven't already gone over, otherwise, my voice is done. I'm sure Deb is done. You guys can probably keep going, but this took a lot of time, guys, to put these together. Thank you, Tiff, for helping me gather the questions from the people and put them together. Don't worry about people always have stuff to say no matter what you do. So let me do this. I'm gonna gift some memberships real quick. I'm gifting these memberships from my twin Leo, Sharon Belko. Sharon, thank you for the gifted memberships that I'm about to gift right now. You guys quickly go over and hit the like button. That is the only way that you're going to have